It was a quiet Saturday morning when I heard the knock, sharp, impatient, and unmistakably entitled. I wiped the grease off my hands, having just finished tuning a motorcycle engine in my backyard workshop, and opened the door to find Karen standing there. Not just any Karen, the Karen, head of our HOA and self-proclaimed protector of the neighborhood's integrity. She wore her usual pastel cardigan, clipboard in hand, lips pursed tighter than a jar lid. "Mr. Daniels," she began, peering past me toward the garage. "I've received several complaints about noise." She said noise like it was a curse word. I tried to be polite. "Morning, Karen. Just working on a couple of restorations. All within the city noise limits, I promise." Her eyes narrowed. "Workshops are not permitted in residential areas. You're running a business, aren't you? I've seen cars come and go." "They're my friends," I said. Though that wasn't entirely true, I did fix bikes for neighbors. But it was more of a hobby than a business. Besides, I checked the zoning rules. Personal workshops are allowed. Karen's smile was thin. "We'll see about that." That was the beginning. Within a week, I got an HOA notice citing unauthorized business activity. I tried to reason with her at the next meeting, explaining that I wasn't making a profit and had no signage or customers lined up outside. But Karen had already rallied her little circle. They nodded along as she listed my infractions: noise, smell, visual disruption. Then came the city inspector. Karen had filed a complaint. The man was polite but thorough, measuring decibel levels, taking photos, and asking questions. In the end, he shrugged and said, "Looks fine to me, sir. Everything's compliant." Karen wasn't happy. She glared from her porch when he left, muttering into her phone. Over the next few weeks, I caught her peeking over the fence, snapping pictures of my property. One night, she even followed me in her SUV when I drove a rebuilt bike to my cousin's place. Something felt off. Karen's obsession went beyond HOA policy, it was personal. I began to suspect she wasn't just after me. She was hiding something. Then one morning, as I was setting up in the garage, I noticed a delivery truck pulling up to Karen's house. The driver unloaded boxes, lots of them, labeled "Scented Candles by Serenity Haven." A week later, strangers started showing up at her door. Karen, the woman crusading against illegal businesses, was apparently running one herself. And I had the evidence to prove it. Once I saw those boxes, I started paying closer attention. Karen's garage door, which used to stay firmly shut, was now open every afternoon. Inside, I glimpsed shelves stacked with jars, wax bags, and what looked like packing materials. At first, I thought, maybe she's just crafting as a hobby. But then came the delivery vans, every other day. And the strangers who'd pull up, hand her cash, and drive off with boxes. If I was running a business, she was running a warehouse. I decided to do what she'd done to me, gather evidence. I started keeping a log, dates, times, license plate numbers, even photos when I could snap them discreetly. I wasn't looking for revenge. I just wanted leverage in case she tried another stunt. But karma seemed to have its own plans. A week later, Karen called another HOA meeting. She had a smug glint in her eyes. "Neighbors," she began, "we must maintain standards. Mr. Daniels continues to violate our bylaws. The HOA will be recommending fines." That's when I pulled out my phone. "Funny you should say that, Karen," I said, projecting a photo onto the screen of the community room's TV, one of her garage, filled with candle-making supplies. "Because I've been noticing some entrepreneurial activity at your residence." The room went dead silent. Karen's face turned pale, then red. "This is harassment," she sputtered. "Those are personal crafts." "Personal crafts you're selling online?" I asked. "Serenity Haven, registered under your name." I checked the state business database. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Even her allies shifted uncomfortably. "I'll be reporting this to the city," I said calmly. "Just like you did to me." She stormed out. The next day, I expected retaliation, maybe more complaints or legal threats. Instead, I saw 2 city vehicles parked in front of her house. Inspectors, just like the ones she'd sent after me. For hours, they went in and out, clipboards in hand. By evening, Karen's business sign, a discreet decal by her doorbell, was gone. Later, I learned she hadn't filed for a home occupation permit. Worse, she'd been dumping wax runoff down the storm drain. A serious environmental violation. The city fined her heavily. The same neighbors she'd used to target me began whispering about her hypocrisy. The HOA meetings grew tense, her influence fading. But Karen wasn't done yet. I soon learned she was planning something much worse, and she wasn't going down quietly. For a few weeks, things were quiet. Too quiet. Karen stopped waving her clipboard around. And I thought maybe she'd learned her lesson. But people like her don't let go that easily. One evening, I returned home to find an official-looking notice taped to my door. City order, immediate cessation of unsafe structural activity. It claimed my workshop violated building codes. Except, I hadn't changed anything. I called the city office first thing Monday. The clerk sighed when I mentioned my address. "Oh, her again," she said. "We've been getting multiple anonymous complaints from your HOA, all unfounded." Apparently, Karen was flooding the city hotline with fake reports, unsafe wiring, chemical spills, hazardous fumes. Each one triggered an inspection, wasting time and taxpayer money. By the 3rd inspection, the city engineer looked genuinely annoyed. "You're good, Mr. Daniels," he said. "This is harassment. File a complaint." So I did. But Karen wasn't just pestering me through bureaucracy, she was trying to ruin my reputation. One morning, I found flyers on neighbors' mailboxes: "Beware of dangerous workshop on Elm Street." It had my address and photos of my garage. I confronted her in front of her driveway. "This is stalking, Karen." She smirked. "You wanted to play detective. Now you get the spotlight." I took a step closer, lowering my voice. "The city's still investigating your candle business. You sure you want more attention?" That wiped the smirk off her face. A few days later, I got a call from Officer Ramirez. The same inspector who'd cleared my shop. "Mr. Daniels," he said, "we found something odd during our follow-up at Mrs. Porter's residence. Mind coming down to the office?" Curious, I agreed. At the station, Ramirez showed me a file, photos of large candle batches, shipping invoices, and undeclared business income. Karen hadn't just been selling to locals. She was shipping nationwide through an online marketplace under a fake LLC. "She's in trouble," Ramirez said. "Tax evasion, environmental violations, and zoning fraud. The city's preparing charges." Part of me wanted to celebrate. But another part hesitated. This was serious. Still, when the news broke, it spread like wildfire. The HOA had an emergency meeting, and Karen was forced to step down. The woman who once policed everyone's lawns and fences was suddenly silent. Or so I thought. The night after her resignation, I heard glass shatter in my backyard. Someone had thrown a brick through my workshop window. Attached was a note, written in neat cursive. "You started this. I'll finish it." The note was the final straw. I filed a police report immediately. And Officer Ramirez promised to increase patrols around my property. But I still couldn't shake the feeling that Karen wasn't done making my life miserable. A few nights later, I caught her red-handed. My motion camera pinged at 2:13 a.m. A figure creeping through the side yard, flashlight in hand. When I checked the feed, it was Karen, carrying a small canister. She was trying to pour something, maybe wax or solvent, near my garage. I called 911. By the time officers arrived, she was gone. But they found the canister, melted candle wax mixed with acetone. An attempt to damage my workshop floor. That was enough for a restraining order. When they served her the notice, the entire neighborhood watched. Some filmed it. Karen screamed that I'd ruined her life, and that she'd only wanted peace in the community. But the truth came out soon after. Local news picked up her case. HOA president busted for illegal home business. The segment aired footage of her house, boxes stacked high, and quotes from city officials about zoning violations. She was fined thousands, lost her HOA position permanently, and faced a pending tax investigation. For me, it was a strange victory. The same neighbors who once avoided me now waved when they walked by. One even brought over cookies, saying, "Guess we backed the wrong person." I repaired my broken window, polished my tools, and went back to my quiet weekends, though I'd installed a few more cameras just in case. A month later, I received a letter from the city. It wasn't another complaint, it was approval. My workshop was officially certified as a home hobby space, in full compliance with local ordinances. I framed it and hung it on the wall. But the best moment came one sunny afternoon when Officer Ramirez stopped by. Chuckling. "You'll like this," he said, handing me a report. Karen's Serenity Haven site had been shut down, and she'd been caught selling products made with unlicensed fragrance chemicals. A big no-no. Turns out, her scented candles were not only illegal, they were a fire hazard. Standing in my workshop, the air smelling faintly of motor oil and redemption, I couldn't help but laugh. Karen had tried to destroy me for breaking rules she was secretly violating. In the end, the city didn't just catch her.